Hey there, sweet friends. It's Erin Jean, and welcome to another episode of the Business of Inner Peace. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that's close to my heart, the journey to inner peace. And we often hear that inner peace is an inside job. And while that's mostly true, I've discovered that there are some key ingredients that can make all the difference. So grab your favorite drink, find a cozy spot, and let's chat about how to truly transform your life.
Welcome to the Business of Inner Peace. I'm your host, Erin Jean, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's pretend we're sitting in my living room enjoying a cup of coffee or tea and getting to know each other just a little better. That's what I love. I love getting to hear your story. I love feeling connected by the spirit of understanding that our stories bring. Today, I'm sharing some of my story, but I hope someday soon you'll be telling me yours. Listen, I know that you're feeling overwhelmed with life and nothing is exactly how you'd like it to be. Your marriage is not what you hoped for, motherhood is harder than you imagined, and you've lost yourself somewhere in the mix of responsibilities. Well, if you're ready to bring some more peace and joy into your life, reconnect with God who made you, and start living a life you love, then grab your cup of coffee or tea and let's dive into today's show.
So let's start with the truth. Inner peace does begin within. It's about how we perceive ourselves, our world, and our place in it. But here's the kicker. Sometimes we need a little help to kickstart that internal transformation. I remember when I was at my lowest point, battling suicidal thoughts. I felt lost. I felt alone, completely disconnected from any sense of peace. It seemed like no matter what I did, therapy, self-help books, prayer, meditation, nothing was really changing. Does that sound familiar to anyone out there? Can you relate at all? And it was in that place that I discovered the first key ingredient was building this deep personal connection with God and truly understanding what He thinks of me. Now, don't get me wrong, because I grew up in a Christian home, and as an adult in I would say my early 20s, I really gave my life fully over to Christ. So connecting to God has always been a part of my everyday life. But I was finding that prayer and, Bible study, reading God's word, it wasn't enough in that really dark space for me. I know I'm not saying it can't be enough because God is amazing and He can do all things, but it wasn't enough for me in that dark space to really push the needle forward in creating change. And I also want to just acknowledge the amount of people that I know that were praying for me at that time. So that is a piece of it, right? It's such an important piece of it. And I believe that through that faith, answers did begin to come to me. But I hadn't really brought God into my thought life. And it was when I actually started to employ this daily energetic movement, some particular moves and stretches that I would do every day. And I combined that with God's word and specifically what God says about me. So I did a little bit of research about what God says about me because I was battling some pretty dark thoughts about myself every single day. And so I needed to take this further step of not just reading God's word and not just praying to God, but literally, I needed to change my thoughts, right? Employ this take every thought captive verse and renew my mind. And the way that I did that was literally every single morning through these energetic exercises. And it was what I found there in God's word is one of my favorite verses, right? Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. So I literally said that every single morning. I still say it every single morning. And God says that I am wonderfully and beautifully made. So I would, and my microwave in my kitchen, I did this in my kitchen every morning. My microwave and my oven, they both are fairly reflective. So I could see my reflection in the glass and I would look myself in the eye and say, "You are wonderfully and beautifully made." I would speak that over myself every single day. God also said that I am loved, and he says that I'm radiant. And I truly believe that God designed each one of us to grow and to transform. Because if you look at nature, nature is our number one signal for God's plan for us. And everything in nature is continually growing and changing and going through seasons. And so I love transformation. I love having a growth mindset because to me, this is the key to living in God's purpose for your life. If you're not living with a growth mindset, then you're already outside of God's purpose for your life. It's not a difficult thing to discover, right? If you're like, oh my goodness, what's God's purpose for my life? Just start there. God's purpose is for you to have a growth mindset, for you to be living a life of transformation. So I have a sheet of paper. I printed it out. It's literally still in my kitchen cupboard today. I put it on the inside of one of my cupboards so that it would kind of guide me until I had this completely memorized. On that piece of paper, it has the verse, the Jeremiah 29:11 verse, and it also has these three affirmations. I am loved, actually four. I am radiant, I am beautiful, and I am transforming. I said that over myself every single day. And I also said that I was wonderfully and beautifully made every single day. And I still do say this over myself every single day. But that's when I noticed one of the first big shifts changed because for me, being connected to God was more than just reading his word, more than just praying to him. It was actually giving him my mind by the words that I spoke, right? Because those words that I was speaking were influencing the thoughts that I was thinking. I was in a battle of my mind around those thoughts. And the only way to battle those dark, dark thoughts is with the truth of God. So, day by day, step by step, I began to see myself through God's eyes. And let me tell you, it was revolutionary because the way I felt about myself started to shift. I wasn't just a bundle of problems and pain and all the other horrible things I was telling myself. I was cherished. I was valuable. I had a purpose. And I began to also see that God created me in a very certain way. And I began to trust that all these unique things about me, like how sensitive I was and how empathetic that I was, that was there for a reason and a purpose, and that God was going to use it for good, right? Tapping back into Jeremiah 29:11, God has a plan for me and the plan is for good. So it wasn't by accident that I was created this way. It wasn't a default or oh no, you're flawed and we live in a fallen world and this is just one of your flaws. No, I began to not view this as a flaw as I previously had, because I'll tell you what, my entire life, I grew up hearing, Erin's too sensitive. Erin, stop crying. Oh, there she goes again. Here goes Erin, right? She's going to cry again. She's so sensitive. I heard stuff like that my entire life. And I viewed this piece of me as a huge flaw, as being broken, because everybody was kind of, complaining about it. And mostly now from my through my adult lens, I can see is they just didn't understand it. They didn't know that God made me this way and that it had a purpose and it was valuable. So I switched that narrative. It took a little while to do, but through this work, I switched that narrative and I began to see this thing that I used to view as a flaw as a complete strength. And it wasn't just about, okay, I can see it as a strength. I had to declare it. I came up, over and over and over again. It was a battle where, for instance, my husband, right? He was so used to me agreeing and aligning with the perspective that my sensitivity was a flaw, because my sensitivity would show up, right, in our marriage and arguments and all of that stuff. I used to agree that it was a flaw. I used to apologize for crying, right? Apologize for being upset. So I couldn't just switch it in my brain. I also had to switch the way that I spoke about myself. And when I was encountered with situations like an argument with my husband, I had to stand firm and say, no, this is a good thing about me. It's good that I'm sensitive. God made me this way and it makes me special. Right? And it didn't matter if he agreed with me or not. I had to stand in it and I had to believe it for myself and see that. And so that's the shift that I'm talking about when I'm talking about this connection with God, because when you take it serious to take every thought captive and to renew your mind, and you involve God in that and God's word in that, it's just a game changer. All right, sorry, I'm going on a tangent. I've gotta rein yourself in, Erin, rein myself in. Um, so let's get to key ingredient number 2, and that is having a partner in believing. That's the words I use for it. So here's, where it can get even more powerful. That second key ingredient I discovered was having this partner in believing, and for me, that partner is my incredible older sister, Shay. My sister has been my rock, my cheerleader, my mirror, reflecting back the best parts of me when I couldn't see them myself. Her unwavering support and the words that she chooses to speak over me have been absolutely priceless in my journey. I'm getting a little emotional. Sorry. It's hard to not cry when I talk about her because I love her so much. But listen, when I was in that really dark place, I felt so much shame about the spot that I was in, that the only way I really knew how to get through it, I just shut my family out. I would not talk to my parents. I would not talk to my sister. I was barely speaking to my husband and children. I was just in this dark, hardly functioning spot. And I know that that was hard for them, and I know it was really hurtful, and it wasn't my intention. I was just trying to survive, and I was so ashamed of this place I was in. It was like I didn't have words to explain it to them, and so it felt easier to just shut them out. And the reason why I share that is because I have an amazing sister that just kept being there for me, and she just kept loving me. And I can't even remember the conversation that we had to heal it, right? But eventually we talked about it, and it's like it's just totally forgiven. I know that she just loves me. She just loves me unconditionally, truly unconditionally. I know that I am safe with her and I'm safe to be me with her even when I'm having a bad day. And it's so important to not just have somebody like that, but also to have somebody, because like what's on top of it, guys, the icing on the cake is she is also a person that has a growth mindset. She wants to always be growing and transforming as well. So she is my partner in that she will agree and align with me on the things that are producing growth and pushing me forward to becoming a better person, but she won't agree and align with me on the junk that can come out of us sometimes. Sometimes when we're in a really dark place or even just having a bad day, doesn't have to be like a super dark place. We can say stuff that's just not God's truth, right? And she's there to call me on that and to say, "Oh, that's not the truth," or "That's not what I see." And she's just such a great encourager. And it's really key when you are focusing on transforming, you're focusing on changing your life, creating a life that you love, to have somebody by your side that is going to offer you this unwavering support and the unconditional love. It's just amazing. So, thank you, Shay, for being my partner in believing, because whenever I've felt stuck, I know that you're always going to be there, and you have been there to point out how far I've come. And your belief in me has helped me believe in myself. And that, my friends, is just the power of having someone in your corner. If you want to transform your life, you really do. You need a system of support. You can't lone ranger it. This isn't something that you do on your own. You need people to walk alongside of you. And, sometimes you can't find it all in one package, and that's okay. You can have your group that you're going to go to for unconditional love, and you can have your people that that you're going to go to for the encouragement and believing in your dreams with you, right? So, when we combine these two ingredients, this strong connection with God and a partner in believing, along with doing the inner work, right? It is about what you're doing with your own thought process. It creates this powerful recipe for transformation. And I went from battling those suicidal thoughts to honestly living a life that I absolutely love. And the coolest thing about it is I can stand here in front of you today, or sit in your ear, whatever you're doing, and say that I really do love my life. Is every day perfect? No. But I know without a shadow of a doubt that I have been so laser focused on creating a life that I love over the past 5+ years. Um, that I know that the reality that I'm currently in is because of the work that I've done. And I've said it here on this podcast before, but one of those pivotal days that really got me angry and it really hit me because I knew it to be true was when I heard this speaker say from a stage, whatever you're getting or not getting in your life, you asked for it. And it made me so mad because I was like, I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for an abusive husband. I didn't ask to be in an unhappy marriage. Like, I didn't ask for this. But the truth was, the way that I was thinking and speaking and living, I was living a life by default instead of by design. I was asking for it because I was just living. Let's say I'd lived 18 years in this marriage. I was living the same year over and over 18 times. The same pattern, the same fights, the same old, same old. I was just letting it happen over and over and over again on repeat. And when I started becoming intentional about my life, I started learning all of these principles about neuroscience and understanding how our mind works. That's when everything started shifting, right? I was intentional about how I was connecting with God. I was intentional about allowing people to speak into my life, right? I had that window of time where I shut my family out, but it wasn't forever. And I recognize the value in having people that love me and support me. So I'm really excited because I have something so exciting to share with you. Remember my amazing sister, Shay, that I was just telling you about? Well, a dream that her and I have had for a while is to have a business together. And she's decided to join me in this mission to support and empower women looking to transform their lives. And we're launching a new venture together called Soul Sisters. And we're offering quarterly retreats and life transformation programs. So, our first retreat is kicking off in March in San Diego, California. And I couldn't be more thrilled about it. If you want to get some more information, just shoot me an email at erinjeancoaching@gmail.com, and I will be sure to give you all the details. But wait, there's more. Did you hear that person yelling from the back? There is more. We're also launching the next round of the Dreamcatcher Collective together. Whoop, whoop. My sister actually went through my first round of it. She loved it so much. And now she's joining me and launching round two. It's a 12-week program where you're going to learn the exact skills and systems that I use to transform my life. You're going to get a repeatable, reliable method to achieve those results that you have been longing for. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but Erin, I've tried everything and nothing's changing. Maybe I'm the problem. Well, let me stop you right there because there is nothing wrong with you. But there might be something wrong with how you've been thinking about all of this. And I'm here to tell you there's hope. That's right. I'm a hope dealer. I call myself a hope dealer. And when you join our Soul Sister retreat or our Dreamcatcher Collective program, I'm going to spill all the tea on how to truly transform your life. Remember, you are loved and you are valuable and you have a purpose. And I cannot wait to see you at either our retreat or an upcoming program. So until next time, this is Erin Jean. I'm wishing you peace and love and transformation. Thanks for listening, sweet friends. Bye for now.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you're feeling blessed by the content here, the number one way you can show me is by leaving me a written review of the show. I'd be forever grateful. Knowing that you're out there listening helps me know that I'm truly living out God's purpose in my life. The other thing you can do is take a screenshot of this episode, share it with a friend, or better yet, tag me on your Instagram stories. Remember, you are seen, known, and loved. May God richly bless you today. All my love, Erin Jean.